Oh, yeah. Thank you, Time. I'm glad to see somebody was keeping an eye out for me. So we are going to jump right into it, guys. We we heard this morning, just after the live stream, or just after the podcast posted, or after I had finished recording it, that all all of the election cases were tossed. The Supreme Court is no longer going to hear it, and unfortunately, that's the end of the road in regards to court cases. We are going to get to that here in just a few minutes, so just hold that thought and we will discuss some things coming up. So, on deck, we have five stories that are happening as we speak. ERCOT says what is the title of this? ERCOT is Energy Department of Energy. That's their emergency response unit and dealing with disaster zones, how to keep the power and continuity of power going. They denied in the early stages of the Texas power outages, they actually denied the Texas access to the U.S. grid. Texas, as most people probably know, some that are going to watch this afterwards, they don't know this. So Texas itself has almost completely tied itself away from the U.S. grid. A, because they don't want national regulators in there telling them how they can and can't use their power. So a lot of this, a lot of the problems that we've seen coming out of Texas have been preventable. They would have been preventable. However, when ERCOT tells you that you can only go and send X amount of things or use X amount of energy, it really ties up the grid, especially when a lot of your energy comes from natural gas powered plants that rely on, guess what, the energy that they create. A lot of the flow stations up the line, they rely on the electrical grid. Well, if they're offline because the electrical grid's offline, how can they pump it there and to their get it to the refinery or the energy producing plant out to the main people? It don't work. So is Texas on its own? Texas is the only state of the union that is in its constitution. It retains the right to secede from the nation. And for the most part, they've been very independent of any U.S. grid. There's, I don't know how many times they've attempted to do this, but they've attempted to date and do all, or sorry, I'm looking at messages coming in and I'm losing my train of thought. But they've been fairly independent of every other state. They grow a lot of their own crops. They produce a lot of their own energy. They don't need us for much of anything. But when ERCOT says, "Well, guess what, guys? You can only file, or you can only use 150 kilowatts or megawatts of power every single hour." Well, that's barely enough to cover one major city. Now imagine having 6 major cities in your state without power. You're not going to have enough power. Period. And The whole reason that they denied it is because they were it was outside of the environmental codes that Biden and his cronies actually put in place. They rolled back a lot of the restrictions that, and then threw in brand new restrictions. So it caused a whole catastrophe. And now there's a bunch of stuff going on. Okay, I'm getting messages about stuff that's going on in DC. Being somebody as I've worked there, I literally lived in DC for a few years. I worked with people in DC. I spent many hours there, both day and nighttime. So a lot of the sewer and everything runs under the streets. But what they also have is massive steam lines. And if the steam lines in any way, shape, or form are punctured, it's going to throw up a major cloud. It's going to look like there's massive amounts of smoke coming up from the tunnels, from the subs, all that stuff down below. Okay? It does not connotate that they are blowing tunnels. There's Yep. Okay, you should have it. So we'll see you in a few.
All right.
Goodbye. Okay, guys. Sorry, I am back. I don't know what happened there. Lost internet, so I apologize. I was kind of on a rant. Here shortly, we are going to have a guest coming in. Nobody's seen him before, but guys, there's we have to take things with a grain of salt, especially when there was a helicopter that just took off from the White House, the South Lawn. So it's that's what the two blinking lights over the White House were. Yeah, that's what they were. But give Jason a big round of applause. How you doing today, Jason?
Give me a minute. I'm trying to figure out. Hold on. Give me a minute. So I don't have any echoes. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah. Turn the volume down on your end just a hair, and then it won't. My voice won't echo back over.
How about now?
It should be good now. But Jason used to work. What did you do? You were a service tech with the Air Force?
I was a AZ. What's called an AZ? I was the service advisor when the pilots came back. They came and they reported back to me problems with planes. If a plane was jarring one way or the other, if it was too hard to lift, whatever. It was basically me sending or setting them up for service.
Okay. So, I mean, you have not only did you service planes, but you learned how to track them. You learned how to do a lot of that.
Right.
So we saw the two lights coming up from the South Lawn, because that's where the helipad would be for the White House. And the only thing that would be even remotely close would be a helicopter that would touch down in there. Am I correct?
Yes, you're 100% correct. So let me do two things first, just to show you guys what in the world's going on. I have what is really actually going on. Let me share my screen if I can figure out how to do it.
There's a share button at the bottom there.
It would help if I was on the right window. Hold on. There we go. All right, so first things first. Can you guys see? Okay. So here's what the live view that they're all talking about right now. Okay. Supposedly the smoke is right here. That is legitimately right where the smoke stacks are for the White House. The planes that you see coming in here are going to land at Baltimore Airport. That's legitimately where they are. And let me show you just so everybody understands. I got to move a window to, hold on, give me a minute. I wasn't prepared to show you guys all this, but I need to. It's very frustrating for me. Okay. So guys, just so everybody knows, as I zoom in, here's our White House, right? They're coming in and they're landing at, I'm so turned around right now. Where's the airport? All right. Right here. They could be landing at this airport or right here. Okay. That's actually where they're landing. That's what you're seeing come in on this view. Where these planes come in right here, they're coming in to land right over in here. Okay. There's nothing to panic about. Now, I want to show you guys something else that I noticed. Get over here, do that, do this, do this. Now, if you guys want to bounce back and forth and between the other channel, okay, and see what in the world they're talking about. They're talking about planes come shooting down right here, okay? So you guys know, right here, this U is what selects military. Guys, there's no military planes over DC right now. Not a single one. All right? I can't stand that they're trying to put people in panic, and it just irks me more than anything else about what's going on, okay? All you got to do is that. Look at how many planes are in the air now, all right? And when you tell someone who's relying on you for information that all these planes are in the air, look at all these planes that are in the air. No, those are all commercial flights. We take that off. There's your military flights. You have one right here. That's it.
What would you say that was? Probably 50 miles out from DC?
Right now, there used to be a scale right here. No, I'm probably close to 100 miles because DC is right here. So I'm probably close to 100 miles. Okay. You have one plane. It's an E6. All right. Plane can be used for a ton of different things. Literally a ton. It could be a bomber. It could be a passenger. It could be a spy plane. It is the most multifunctional plane that the military has. There's one. I'm sorry, guys. I don't normally go live. I don't normally help with I help Shane on the back end. Shane and I talk 10, 15, 20 times a day. All right. But I don't normally go live because I don't normally put myself out there like this. But anyway, this is, guys, we're completely safe. And I hate that anybody tried scaring anybody. All right. Again, if you go back to the other channel and you look, they have this chosen. This is highlighted. Okay. As soon as you select it, you have one military plane. It even says it right here. Only show the U-2 and other military planes. Okay. Please. And I hear, and I see most of you guys say it on here. You don't panic. You don't panic. I don't want someone to pull some sort of trigger based off of what somebody's saying like this. So anybody has any questions, I'm more than willing to answer them. But you guys all see who I am now.
And let's quick address a question. I did see they're talking about blowing dumbs under the White House. I'm gonna be very crystal clear. They wouldn't have something like that underneath the White House, because if they were to blow something like that, the White House would cave too.
That's another point Shane and I were talking about earlier. Guys, if they were to blow a tunnel, it doesn't matter if it's a 10-foot tunnel, 10-foot tall, 10-foot round tunnel. There would be repercussions on the surface when that explosion happens. So think about it this way. You've got a tunnel like this, right? You blow up that tunnel, it's going to fall in. Where's the stuff on top going to go? Okay. There's going to be repercussions that are on the top side. So if you drop 10 feet below, you're going to drop 10 feet on top, or 6 feet, whatever it happens to be. All right. I just don't want you guys to see what's going on and be fed fake information. Truth is truth.
And I mean, guys, so the White House sits on top of a warren of tunnels. And when I say a warren, a lot of the information in regard to what's below the White House, you could go 1 or 2 levels below and not be classified, but everything else is. So when people come out, and guys, I'm sorry, my green screen is glitching really bad, and I know it's probably bothering somebody, but there's a shopping mall for the president of the United States right underneath the White House. Okay, he can't go to the regular shopping mall. He can't go shopping with the rest of us. It presents too many security risks. So he has his own shopping mall. He has his own barber. He has his own clinic. Everything that could be taken care of for the president is on the White House grounds. They don't need to go anywhere else. They literally have it right there. And they have their bunkers. Everybody knew about it. That's the only reason I talk about it. There's a high-speed train. Everybody knows about it. I mean, crap, they did a whole movie on what happens if rogues take over the U.S. government. I don't know if anybody's ever seen the movie XXX State of the Union. If you haven't seen that movie and you really want to understand how the White House works, you want to see what happens with the White House when it goes into lockdown and they have to get the president out in a hurry, watch that movie. You'll see.
Oh, there's that other movie. Oh man, what is it?
There's
With the
White House
president.
Down.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of movies out there that they were able to get special access to certain parts of the White House grounds that nobody else had access to. Because they wanted to show people that there was a plan.
So there's a lot of things, and Mickey, I just read your comment, and holy crap, did you hit that right on the head? And as soon as I was watching that, I'm like, no way, really? This is what they're going to do. All right, I don't want to talk about other channels as much, but I do want to. Now, I am from the Chicago area. All right, I live in the Chicagoland area, and I have done a ton of work in Chicago. I used to be a fire alarm inspector for Rush Hospital, and I used to be able to get down into the tunnels. Shane had up at one point, when one of the hundreds of conversations that he and I've had, all of the tunnel maps on and how deep they go. I don't mean to bring up Chicago necessarily as a comparison to DC, but the reason why I'm trying to do it is because as a Chicagoan and basically lived here my entire life, okay, yeah, there's some underground tunnels for utilities and things like that. No, what I'm talking about is thousands of feet underground. There's tunnels. and they go from Michigan Avenue west. If you go Michigan Avenue east, you're looking at everything that was created by a dump. It's literally built on garbage. And very, very few people know about it. So the whole reason I'm telling you guys this is DC is the same way. The whole article that you guys have seen from other channels is something that I pulled up and I sent them. And that article shows the very first layer of probably a 6 or 10 layer system of tunnels. Shane, forgive me if I'm wrong here, but I'm thinking they probably go down a good 500 to 1,000 feet under DC.
The actual, if I had to guess, because I actually don't know the true depth. I know the last recorded depth that is unclassified was right at 995 feet. So
there you go.
1,000 feet. But I know there's stuff even deeper than that. And that's stuff that we can't talk about. I mean, anybody with knowledge of it can't talk about what it's used for. So
the only reason I'm bringing this up is because no, it's not impossible, Wings. It's not impossible at all. It's actually pretty easy to do because there's so much pressure on them. The reason I bring it up is because the disinformation that's happened, not only in mainstream media, but a lot of these other media companies that come out are claiming to give you guys the right stuff on top of other things that come out that are claiming to give you the right stuff. I'm not saying I'm 100% right. I'll never, ever tell you I'm 100% right. I don't know if Shane's 100% right 100% of the time, but what I can tell you is Shane and I do a ton of research on this stuff. We look at everything that we're trying to tell you guys so that when we tell you, or when I give it to him to tell you, or whatever the situation happens to be, you guys have as accurate information as what we can get you. All right. I talk with my hands a lot. I'm sorry, guys. Basically, we want to inform everybody as best as we can based on information that we can factually come up with. We know factually there's tunnels under DC. We know factually there's tunnels under Chicago. There's tunnels under LA. There's tunnels under a lot of major cities.
Yeah, just about. I think all of the major cities.
Yeah.
There's a reason they have been successful. There's a reason they are still thriving. And it's because commodities can get from one point A to point B without having to travel the surface. They just ship them down a shipping tunnel and away it goes. And now they don't have to deal with the traffic.
Right. So I'm going to tell you guys a quick story just to back up what he just said. It's not just human trafficking. Al Capone, Chicago. Again, I'm going back to Chicago because it's what I know. If you guys ever look up Elgin, Elgin, Illinois, okay, look on a map. It's about 35 miles west of Chicago. There was a underground tunnel that went about 22 miles out of Chicago so that Al Capone could get out of the city and relax. Elgin is now probably 250,000 people. Okay. At that time, there wasn't a population. It was a country rural area. So he was able to get away from the city and all that stuff. And yes, there were other illegal things that happened, but legit, you can look it up, and you can look up Al Capone's tunnel from Chicago to Elgin and see it. That was in the 20s. If we had the technology to build, if a mobster had the technology to build a tunnel in the 20s, imagine what's taken place since then.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at look at Tesla's Boring Company.
Right.
I mean, they dug a tunnel. They're in the process of digging a tunnel in New York, and they were told that they wouldn't be able to make it more than a mile in a year, and they chewed up a mile in the first 5 days. So, I mean, it's there's a whole culture and there's a whole business model based on doing tunnels.
Right.
City under Denver,
Airport. And that's fact.
yeah, that's more than a fact. I mean,
I think PBS or something like PBS did some sort of expose on it.
Yeah, they did, because think about this, guys. The Denver International Airport takes on 3.3 million passengers every single day, or better. And to do that, they have to have almost 350,000 employees to keep that running. They have motels, they have all sorts of stuff underneath the airport to literally cater to their employees.
Right.
You don't get access to it. You won't ever see it because it's not accessible by normal civilians. I'll give you. I'll tell you something I got to experience. So, working with SkyWest Airlines, I flew into Denver for training all the time, and I flew in there one day. It was dark. Couldn't get a cab. It was probably 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and one of the pilots looks at me. He said, "Shane, I know you're not a pilot. I know this is probably against regulations." He said, "But you need to follow me." I'm like, "Okay." So I followed him, went to a fire exit. I'm like, "Okay." He swiped his badge, and we go on through. We went down about 10 flights of steps, and it emptied out into a narrow corridor. He goes to a door, swipes his badge again, and allows him into a room. Against one wall is a bunch of bunks. Against the other wall is a kitchenette and computers and everything that we need. I'm like, "Well, how far down are we?" He said, "Oh, we're close to about 60 to 100 feet below the runway at this where we were." So it's interesting because I never even knew about it until that happened to me. Like I said, I grew up without a TV. I didn't know anything about it. And if somebody would have told me 5, 10 years ago, even with what I did prior, I've been like, city under Denver International Airport, what are you smoking? So, but that's just my own personal story, guys. I mean, one thing, guys, I probably won't. I mean, I'm gonna post this, but we're gonna open it up for questions here quickly. But one thing I am doing is we have the store, we have the donate button, but I'm not interested in that. If you guys want to do it to support us, by all means, but I'm not going to push it. Everything that we tell you, everything that we talk about, if there's documents that I can release to the public, they will show up on the website. You guys can peruse them at your leisure. I'm not going to charge for that information. If you want to go back and watch a previous show, go back and watch a previous show. You have access to it on the website. I am on Facebook. Yeah, I kind of go in. I get put in jail a lot in regards to the Facebook jail. But such is life as a conservative. You get put in jail, you do your time, and then you get out. Right, Jason?
Been there, done that.
But anybody that I will not tell you I got kicked off of Facebook and I hate Facebook and all this. I'm not going to build a platform and charge money for it on Facebook platform itself. I won't do that. You must not discuss Proud Patriot. You must not discuss politics like I do on Facebook. I love to get into heated arguments. Do I think we're going to see crap happen? I think there's going to be a lot of pissed off people. I was reading a Reddit channel today, and I don't put a whole lot of stock in Reddit or what people are saying, but there's a couple channels that I actually follow on Reddit, and they were discussing, and these guys are all veterans, and there's a group called the Oath Keepers. They have chapters in all 50 states, and literally the Oath Keepers just put out a red alert, and they're starting to organize. I told myself and people that I really care about, we are in this together. We are not going to be able to be knuckled down because the truth has to come out. And if we ever, I mean, we look at the Supreme Court case that happened today, or didn't happen, I should say. It should have happened. I think everybody and their dog can agree that what they did today was a travesty for our country. I think anybody with a sound mind would say that it was a travesty. So all these Oath Keepers are former military, they're veterans. These guys are willing and have proven themselves by saying oh crap. Sorry about that. I thought I lost you. They have already proven themselves to the American people and to the military itself that they are willing to put their lives on the line. And they're telling us that the upper echelon of the military, the upper echelon is in Biden's pocket now. They might be controlled by Trump, but they are in Biden's pocket, believe it or not. And I think you could agree to that. Right, Jason?
No. Yeah. I think that honestly, if the Supreme Court, and you and I were talking about this earlier, I think that if the Supreme Court had heard those cases, no matter what the answer would have been, and even this way that it is now, no matter what that answer would have been, it wouldn't have been good for the country no matter what as a whole. Okay. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up and say Friday we're gonna see the booms. Saturday we're gonna see the booms. We're gonna move the goalposts again, guys. I'm not gonna get into that. I think that true and honestly, we will see what we see when we see it. As much as I hate to say it like that, because if Trump still has some sort of plan, which honestly, I think there is some sort of plan. And I think that we will very soon see his plan, but it won't be the big booms that a lot of people and a lot of things have advertised. Okay. Do I believe in the theories of some letter that someone has said? I believe it's driven me down a rabbit hole of waking my eyes up no matter what. And I think that's what the end goal is to wake everybody's eyes up, to really see what in the world's going on. I'm 45, and at 45 years old, I didn't know anything other than ABC, CBS, NBC, for anybody who knows, WGN News and Fox, and then the CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. I didn't know anything else. And this last 4 months really has opened my eyes up to see there's a whole different world of information out there that nobody advertises, nobody knows about. And whenever you get into that other realm, yeah, it's on you to figure out whether or not you believe it. But when you see a Military Times, and I'm trying to think of news sources right now. When you see all these other news sources, some very, very similar stories and can be agreed upon, you're starting to see some real truth come out, So, guys, to be honest with you, I think the whole letter conspiracy, 17th letter conspiracy thing, I think that was more to wake everybody's eyes up, to get people like Shane and I together, to get people like you guys together, and to really see what's out there. I don't think it was necessarily to foretell or pretell what in the world's going to happen. I think we're going to see Trump come out soon.
Sunday.
I know what I mean is listen, we're in 2021 right now. We have legitimately 18 months before our next election. You're going to see a whole lot of Trump and his family coming out for that next election. And that much I'll put money on. Okay. And I'm not a big man, but I will put money on that. There's going to be a lot.
And guys, quite honestly, I got a call earlier today after the whole Supreme Court order, and I seen somebody in here that said it wasn't the Linwood case. Well, I pulled up the Linwood case. So we're going to run through it real quick, just kind of show you guys the information. Here's a case number for the Linwood versus Brad Raffensperger, who is the Georgia Secretary of State. Petition for writ of certiorari filed. Writ of certiorari means they want to be heard in front of the Supreme Court. Everything was supposed to be heard or be submitted on the 19th. Well, here's the stuff that's really important right there.
Yep.
Today.
Yep. Shane and I were on the phone. What time was it? 8 o'clock this morning? 8:30?
9:30. It was 9:30 because I was punching into a job. And
oh, that's right.
Jason called me today, and he's like, and I'm like, dude, they just turned it down. And he's like, no, they didn't. I could hear the keyboard just clattering away, just trying to get the information. And he's like, man, They did.
All three of them got turned down, guys.
All the cases that were even there were 36 election interference cases.
Yep.
There were 3 majors that we all knew about, but there was 33 others, and all of them were just boom, 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 shot all down.
Yep.
So,
Proud Patriot, I gotta say something. No matter how you look at it, you're right. We're getting blocked. And Shane, forgive me for interrupting, but no matter what that answer would have been, whether it be pro-Trump or anti-Trump, pro-election fraud or anti-election fraud, there's so many people who believe so much on each side, it would have broken this country up even more. It really would have.
okay. So, people, I got a call from the other side of the country. So I got a call from Jason. Then I get off the phone with Jason. I go and do my job. Then I got a call from the other side of the country, over from the West Coast region. And the gentleman that's calling me, he's like, man, I don't know. What do we do moving forward? How do we move forward from this? How do we literally start? We're not going to be able to wait till the next election. People want solutions. People want stuff, and they want to hear. I'm not going to sugarcoat the truth. It's not going to be an easy next 18 months. It isn't. But let's sit back and think about it with clear heads. How can we help move the movement forward? How can we as conservatives, how can we as patriots move forward and force this to never happen again? Make sure it never happens again. There's 100, there was 70. Okay, so years in 2016, Donald Trump got 65 million votes. In 2020, he got 75 million. His campaign said 3 million people more than the last election, and they would have won it. They got 10 million more, and they still lost it. How? Democrat states, and quite honestly, Arizona, which is a Republican state for the most part, changed the rules in the middle of the election. And the election was changed forever. We can't allow the deception and the way they did this. What does it mean for us? We have to, as grassroots people, actually help put in the effort. Trump, now he's actually able to operate on 3 different tiers instead of just a single tier. See, as a president, Trump was only able to just handle 1 tier. Now that he opened the office of the former president, and like I said, some people who are going to come on here later on, they're not going to like what I'm saying. And I know there are some people that probably don't like what I'm saying right now. And I'm fine with that. I know that what I'm saying hurts. But we have to put in the time. We have to put in the effort. We have to do our part to make sure that when Trump's hitting on the 3 tiers, we're hitting on those 3 tiers as well. And we are helping further that. Because if we don't, the MAGA movement or the conservative movement or the conservative party falls apart.
Yep.
We have to do our part. Trump has been doing his. I mean, the Democrats and everybody, all the pundits were saying we are going to lose huge in the election. We're supposed to lose 25 seats in the House. We're supposed to lose 15 Senate seats. Guess what? We didn't lose a single Senate seat. We lost 1 House seat. But yet we picked up how many? Like 10, 11?
I thought it was 12 total.
Yeah. But I mean, we made gains when everybody said we were going to lose. Never before in human history or in the history of this country has the incumbent party kept all the seats and gained some in both houses, but lost the presidency. It's never happened. It's statistically 1 in 1 billion chances that happens.
Right.
But yet somehow it managed to happen. So guess what? Now we have our work cut out for us. The military, do I think the generals and all those guys are going to come and say, dude, there are generals, there are military people who are in Trump's corner, who are working with him. But you think they're going to go to their chain of command and say, I'm sorry, we're arresting you, and go?
Nope.
It's called treason. And that is the only crime actually listed in the Constitution with a penalty. Did you know that?
Guys, Shane, this is your thing. I just want to one more time show everybody what's over the U.S. right now, just so before I go, before everybody else decides to go, make sure everybody knows we're all tucked in nice and safe and sound. Why? Oh, there we go. All right, guys. Right now, over the U.S., there's 99 planes. Okay. DC, I got this one that's coming in for a landing. Okay. Guys, we are as safe can be. And as much as I dislike Biden, okay, truthfully, as much as I dislike Biden, I don't think he's going to let harm come to American people in any way, shape, or form. Okay. I'm going to drop. Shane, you can finish out what you've got to finish. Everybody, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. I wanted to make sure everybody knew what was going on. And you guys are good as far as I'm concerned. You guys have any questions or anything else? Or Shane, you need anything from me?
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm going to drop.
Okay. Thank you, Jason, for coming on.
Bye, guys.
And I'm gonna answer that question. Winks. Sorry. Anybody getting arrested? Absolutely. There are people getting arrested. That is happening. But at the speed of which was being talked about, I don't believe that it's happening at that fast. It is happening, but to go out and say that people are being shot in the head, to go out and say that people are being killed without trial, that's misinformation. It's factually untrue. There are military tribunals happening. I know. But to go and inform people and say that all this is happening at lightning speed and hundreds of people are dead or executed or all this. There's only a couple places in this world that even do that. But even there's a show trial. China, Cuba, Russia, they always have a show trial. I don't care if it's military tribunal or civil court or criminal court. There's always a trial. Military tribunal. Tribune means trial. There's a reason this country was founded on the principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And you look at the Bill of Rights. It guards against unwarranted search and seizure, unlawful arrest, all of that. And in order to detain somebody for more than 48 hours, except for in the cases of domestic or international terrorism, we can hold a person for 48 hours without indictment, period, end of story. No longer than that. With domestic terrorists, we can do that. Military tribunals, they last days, guys. Days. I've sat on juries. I've sat in those courtrooms. I've seen them firsthand. They don't last hours. Go if you want to see what a military tribunal is, go down to your county courthouse. Go sit on a couple trials. Because they're the exact same thing. Only everybody's in uniform and everybody there's a pretty much assumption of guilt, but the judge even states before the trial starts that the accused is innocent until proven guilty. Until they are tried by a jury of their peers. They are innocent until proven guilty. Absolutely. They are regular trials. The only thing different is they're in uniform. I think guys who have actually been in those rooms, who have actually taken part in those trials, who have actually been in the deliberation rooms to cover all this. I've been there. I've seen it. And anybody who's been in the military for any length of time, they've probably been in one as a jury panelist. Just because you join the military, just because you are part of the military construct, does not diminish your rights in the military court of law. No. It's just like a military, it's just like a civilian court. If they're found guilty, the accused who is guilty is taken into custody. They're transferred to a military prison to await basically their sentence. And the sentence comes 2 weeks after, usually. And then 9 times out of 10, they're either going to Fort Leavenworth Military Detention Center or they're going to ADX Camp Florence, which is out in Colorado, and it's a U.S. Supermax. So, guys, I hope tonight has been informative for you guys. I really, truly do hope that you guys understand why I'm passionate about what I'm passionate about. I didn't want to go into the rabbit holes, but I also want people to understand that there are people out there who will take advantage of the money. They will take advantage of a following. Get the glitz and the glamour. The stars strike everybody. And then after everything's said and done, people are lost. People, they don't know what to do because everything they have been told was not true. Wait, there is so much stuff that is going on. Things could happen at any time, but they're beyond anybody. Nobody's going to talk about it until it happens. But the lists that have been floating around the internet are making their way to the surface now. I'm talking about the lists that are talking about all of the people that are executed, arrested, went through their tribunals, all that. Those are garbage. They've been floating around the internet since 2008. So there are a few people that are on that list who are no longer with us, unfortunately. Which part? The list floating around on the internet since 2008? Is that what you're talking about, Winks? Because I know in 2008, I graduated high school, and we were in the middle of the Obama. We had just started going through the election of 2008 with Barack Obama and all those, and everybody was talking about how Bill Clinton had been killed, and all these people had been killed. And a buddy of mine, he was like, "Okay, you know what? We're gonna keep a list of all the people that have been killed." So my buddy kept a tabulation, and we heard from 70 different people that Bill Cosby had died. Well, guess what? Just a couple weeks or about a year and a half, 2 years ago, that literally was just put in prison. And then they talked about O.J. Simpson being on that list. Well, O.J. Simpson's in prison, or he's getting out, or whatever's happening with O.J. All I know is he was very much alive as of a year ago that I remember. There are so many people on that list that I know personally that I can factually tell you that those people are very much alive. But yet the rumor mill has created them as dead and said they were dead for a long time. Exactly, Proud Patriot. You're exactly right. People can create misinformation. They can create whatever the heck they want. They put it out on a website, boom, it's taken as true. Everything you read on the internet, every conspiracy theory, There's going to they're going to say that, oh, all this stuff is all honky dory, but yet you come on across some other conspiracy theories, and they're gonna be like, oh, the world's falling apart. I mean, look at the climate control medias. They literally said that Earth was going to end in 12 years. They said the globe was warming up at such a rapid pace that the world was going to end in 12 years, except we have to get rid of our cow farts. We have to get rid of our planes. And we have to get rid of our automobiles. So the whack jobs out there, and there's people who will literally say whatever they need to say to either A, get elected, or B, get followers. And you guys might not like what I have to say, but it's very, very ill of me to sit there and tell you guys that something's going to happen, and then it don't happen, and I have egg all over my face. I'm not looking for a following. If I did that, I'd go on. All I'd have to do is just put a D behind my name and go on CNN. If I wanted a following, that's what I'd do. So, guys, facts matter, and until there's some solid facts and some solid evidence, we're not gonna. Okay, yeah, right, Shane. Okay, we have to be very, very clear about the message that we present to people. We have to make sure that people are given correct information. I'm not going to sensationalize stuff. I'm not going to bullshit people, because that, if it comes out that it's factually not true, where's your credibility? I could tell you that the heaven and earth and the aliens and everybody are going to come down on March 4th and save us all. But if it don't happen, I look like a quack job. I don't want people to follow me like a cult. I want them to follow me because I'm giving them fact-based truth. I want them to see what I'm doing and know that I'm not just talking out the side of my neck. I'm not just blowing smoke up their butt. Facts matter, and we have to keep that going. If we sit there and yes, are there children in tunnels? Absolutely. We know that for a fact. Are they blowing those tunnels up? Yeah, they are. People need to know about that kind of stuff. Human trafficking is a real problem. What people don't need to hear is, oh, they're doing this in our nation's capital. Because if the White House falls, guys, people don't realize, and maybe you guys do, but the symbolism of the White House staying standing. So in 1812, before the White House that we know it was built, There was a White House prior, and it was destroyed. And it was so demoralizing to many of the troops that watched it fall that we nearly lost the War of 1812. There's a reason. We can wish all we want, but to have the capital, the seat of our government, there's a reason there was land taken from Virginia, land taken from Maryland. It was to create a district outside the control of politicians from either state. It had to be autonomous, separate and apart from the rest of the country. It is foreign soil. That is factually correct. It is foreign soil because just like the British Virgin Islands, just like Guam, just like Puerto Rico, just like a lot of the U.S. Virgin Islands, all those places, those are all territories. They're outside the actual jurisdiction of the United States, but yet they are our territories. There's a lot of things that the White House symbolizes the power that the U.S. has had. It has been this way for generations. War of 1812, when that fell, it demoralized the troops so much that they nearly gave up. But when Francis Scott Key looked over the bow and saw the flag still waving over the fort, he wrote the Star Spangled Banner, and he knew that we weren't going to give up. We weren't going to lose our independence. That alone, that was the last time that the United States has ever fought a war on its own soil. We raised the White House again. We went through a civil war, and the nation healed again. We went through the civil rights movement in the 1950s and 1960s. We had Russians planting ICBMs within 90 miles of Florida. We seen the assassination attempt in 1960 or in the 1960s of John F. Kennedy. All this stuff, and the country has still stuck together. The only way forward, guys. Let's cut to the chase. The only way forward that we have, without relying on any outside influence, outside of our control, what can you? I'm gonna one of my favorite quotes: "Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country." The times are scary. The times are not. It is not going to be a fun couple years. It really isn't. I don't believe that we have a whole lot of time to rectify the changes. Focus on what you can do for your country. Focus on what you can do for your own self, for your children, for your grandchildren, for the next generations that come after us. Because when our time comes, and it may come sooner for me than some other people, I'm a healthy man. But unfortunately, the angel of death takes all of us. But what we have is today. What can I do today that will change not only my life, it'll change my children's lives, their children's lives, my great grandchildren's lives. We have to focus on the future generations. Now, more than ever, it is time to pick up your pens. It is time to pick up your microphones. It's time to ask those questions. It's time to get answers. Hold your politicians accountable. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your relatives. Guess what? If Donald Trump is going to get reelected, we're going to have a grassroots movement like we've never seen before. Next time, he needs to win by over 100 million people. And I think he can get there. You watch the destruction that happens under Obama or Biden, sorry. We have 18 months to the next election. What can I do to make sure that we put the people in power that actually represent what America is about? How can I put people in power and help put people in power that represent my own values? You guys came to me. You wanted to know the truth. You wanted me to sit there and talk and just talk straight. This is me talking straight. I'm not going to blow smoke up your butt. It's going to be a rough couple of years. But trust me, there is a brighter future on the other side. There truly is. We just have to hope. We have to pray. Pick up your microphones. Pick up your pencils. Before we wrap this up, is there any questions? Any questions from anybody? If not, then guys, I hope I didn't upset too many people. I really, truly don't. Facts matter. Truth matters. We all give hope for people to do the right thing. Don't kick yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. I was in the same boat. I had a dream last night. And in my dream, I knew that the Supreme Court wasn't going to go the way that we were hoping. I knew that the military thing wasn't going to take place as quickly or as rapidly as we were hoping. And when the longer Jason and I talked, and the longer I thought, and I was working and I had talked to other people, the more I was given the conviction that it's It's better to just expect the worst, hope for the best. Prepare for that. We have to push forward, because if we don't, the mega movement, everything that Trump stood for, everything that Trump has worked so hard for, will be lost. We can't have that. Our country depends on us. Our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren depend on us. So pick up your mics. Pick up your pencils. The silent majority is no longer silent. And with that, God bless and take care.